Welcome to Camnet TV Main News. I am Precious Muzea Sakaleji. The headlines. SESTUZ recommends psychosocial counseling for teachers left out in the recruitment process. UPND member KELVIN SAMPA appears in court for theft. Zambia to establish the biggest nickel mine. And in international news, deaths as floods hit Sudan's Darfur. And in sports, awarding bonuses to Copper Queens a good motivation factor, charges Peter MAKEMBO. Join me with the details after this commercial. In our main news in detail, stakeholders in the media have called for a strengthened media body in order to get rid of the professional impersonators. In an interview with Camnet News, Panel's Institute of Southern Africa Executive Director Vusumuizi Sifile says the media fraternity has been invaded by many untrained individuals claiming to be journalists at the expense of trained individuals. He says there is need to strengthen laws and ethics that govern media practitioners to curb the dissemination of fake news, especially on social media. Meanwhile, the Zambia Independent Media Association President Jaja Kolibali says the government should quickly enact the Media Council Bill as it is the only way for sanity. I beg your pardon. He says it is the only way sanity can be restored in the profession.
Social media has come as a complementary medium that has enabled mass communication to be possible in the quickest manner. This has, however, come with its own challenges, as social media has fostered the increase of citizen journalism, something which has consequently contributed to the rampage of fake news in the country. Speaking to Camnet TV in an interview, stakeholders in the media have explained that while citizen reports in itself may not be harmful, there is a need to separate the two to avoid the prevalence of fake media reports due to the lack of professionalism and knowledge on how to gather and disseminate information with proper consideration of laws and the ethics that guide the media. The Panel's Institute of Southern Africa, through their representatives, said the media fraternity needs to strengthen laws and ethics that govern the affairs of the industry in order to rid the media fraternity of impersonators.
Any colleague who is in the business or who is interested in sharing or disseminating information to take the necessary steps to follow the basic journalistic guidelines, issues of truth, issues of fairness, issues of accuracy, timeliness, professionalism, and just following the basic journalistic ethics. I personally do not have anything against vloggers, bloggers, and other online content disseminators.
And the Zambia Independent Media Association, ZIMA president, says government should enact the Zambia Media Council Act of 2021, which, among others, seek to accredit trained professionals in the media to report in order to diffuse the profession of imposters at the expense of trained practitioners.
As a media body, as ZIMA, we've always preached about sanity in the media, especially when it comes to covering of national events, and as well as dealing with private sources. Of course, you might be aware that we cannot curtail their freedom of expression. You cannot curtail their freedom to assemble or gather or impart information to people. But let us not call them journalists, or let us not allow them to call themselves or impersonate as journalists. No. Citizen journalists are all over the world. Sometimes we rely on information that is produced by citizen journalists. Sometimes we get amateur footage, amateur pictures, amateur write-ups from citizen journalists, and they are important in our society. But calling them journalists will be very wrong and unfair to the profession.
While everyone has the right to share information on their respective social media platforms, in the words of the former head of state, social media is for all, but journalism is for trained communicators. Mr. Janika reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
United Party for National Development member KELVIN SAMPA has pleaded not guilty before the Lusaka Magistrates Court for allegedly stealing 14,000 kwacha cash. This is in a case in which Mr. SAMPA, who is also the former Kasama Central Member of Parliament, stands charged with one count of theft contrary to the laws of Zambia. The accused, who denied the charge before magistrates, Trevor Kasanda, is alleged to have stolen the said amount of cash from Mbaliku Selesengulu, a managing director of Mbaruku Trading Limited.
The recent arrested former lawmaker KELVIN SAMPA, who was pounced on by the police in May 2022, with allegation that he obtained 1.4 million kwacha from a Mr. Baliku on pretext that he was going to help him have his goods, which were impounded by the Zambia Revenue Authority, made his first court appearance before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court Monday morning with a group of United Party for National Development youths who went to offer him solidarity. However, Mr. SAMPA, who is now a United Party for National Development member after defecting from the opposition Patriotic Front, has been slapped with the charge of theft contrary to Section 272 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the laws of Zambia. He has been accused of stealing 14,000 kwacha cash, the property of Mr. Baliku Selesengulu, between the 1st of May 2022 and the 31st of June 2022, a charge which he denied committing this morning when he appeared before Magistrate Trevor Kasanda. Magistrate Kasanda has adjourned the case to the 18th of August 2022 for possible commencement of trial, following the accused pleading not guilty to the one count of theft offense. Meanwhile, the former Kasama constituency Member of Parliament is facing a civil lawsuit before the Lusaka High Court commenced by Mbaruku Trading Limited and its managing director, Selesengulu Baliku. The company, which supplies cognac spirits, advanced allegation that Mr. SAMPA allegedly paid himself as commission 1.4 million instead of paying the Zambia Revenue Authority. The company seeks that the court orders Mr. SAMPA to pay damages for the inconvenience, mental anguish, and stress caused to them as they had to source the amount payable to ZRA when the said money was misappropriated by Mr. SAMPA. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
Former Ministry of Health Permanent Secretary Dr. Kennedy Malama and 7 others have asked the Economic and Financial Crimes Court to quash the charges they are facing of failing to comply with the procedure during procurement of 50 ambulances at the Ministry of Health on grounds that the allegations do not cite a specific law, hence fears they might not be subjected to a fair trial. This is in a case in which Dr. Malama and 7 others are facing 2 charges of willful failure to comply with the applicable law and procedure contrary to the Anti-Corruption Act.
The Lusaka's Magistrate Court will, on the 4th of August 2022, deliver a ruling on whether it will quash the 2 charges of willful failure to comply with applicable law and procedure contrary to the Anti-Corruption Commission Act that Dr. Malama, the former permanent secretary at the Ministry of Health, and others are accused of or not. This is following a preliminary issue raised by the accused Monday morning when they appeared before Magistrate Stanford Ngobola in their corruption-related case, that the charges be quashed on ground that the charge sheet does not contain sufficient details to enable them form their defense. The accused, through their defense counsel, argue that the charge do not disclose which procedure or guideline they did not comply with. Hence, the allegations must be revoked as they will be prejudiced. This is in a case in which Dr. Malama has been jointly charged with Dr. Francis Walia, a diplomat based in Switzerland, Dr. Muzaza Ntele, a diplomat based in Beijing, Dr. Maximilian Weupe, a diplomat at the Zambian embassy in Washington, D.C., Rebecca Njovu, a retiree, and Wilson Lungu, a chief procurement officer under the Ministry of Mines. The two offenses the state accuses them are contrary to Section 34(2)(b) of the Anti-Corruption Commission Act No. 3 of 2012. Allegations in the first count is that Dr. Malama, at the time he was Permanent Secretary for Administration between August 1st, 2017 and December 31st, 2018, failed to comply with procedural guidelines relating to procurement by terminating contract number MOH/ORD/004/15 between the Ministry of Health and Savenda Management Services Limited for the supply and delivery of 50 basic life support ambulances, supply and delivery of major support spare parts for the ambulances, and training of personnel. In the second count, all the 8 are jointly charged and is alleged to have on January 1st, 2017 and December 31st, 2017, being persons employed in the Ministry of Health jointly and whilst acting together, failed to comply with the following relating to procurement by approving paper number 131 of 2017. The paper recommended the use of limited bidding international as the appropriate method of procurement of the ambulances without providing justifications or means in the said paper for use or choice of the method of procurement. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Some teachers who have been left out of the recent 30,000 teacher recruitment exercise by government have questioned what criteria was used to conduct the recruitments, stating that some have been serving as volunteer teachers for over 10 years. In an interview, one of the aggrieved teachers, Mr. Roy Chia, who is a teacher at Vole Primary in Luono District of Central Province, says he has been volunteering since graduating 10 years ago and even used his personal resources to contribute towards construction of teachers' houses and classrooms at his school. Meanwhile, Secondary School Teachers Union SESTUZ General Secretary, Mr. Steve Kiso Wamuyua, says teachers who have been left out will require counseling to help them return to normalcy, stating that expectations among applicants were high.
On 15th July 2022, the Ministry of Education announced the recruitment of 30,496 teachers into the civil service. Out of these teachers, 59% were women, 41% male, and 196 being persons with disabilities. This has brought a lot of disappointment as the Ministry of Education indicates that over 100,000 teachers applied, meaning that over 70,000 people have been disappointed. We spoke to some teachers in Lusaka who are demanding to know what criteria was used, because some of them say that they finished maybe 10 years ago, but they have not been recruited, in comparison to some people who finished only 2 years ago. Among them is Mr. Roy Chia, who is a teacher in at Wole Primary School in Luano constituency, who says he has been volunteering at that school and even constructed some teachers' houses and classrooms, and so wonders how come he has been left out.
They can't shut my dream, they can't shut my career like this. I need to be considered on this one. I have all the phone numbers for the debts for everyone. The PTA chairperson, I have the contact details to verify this. I really want to go back to my school because I was the teacher in charge that side. The school was handed over to the government under my watch. We made sure that there were staff houses were built. 1x3 classroom block was built under my watch as a school head. But the government, by then, they brought in government teachers, leaving us out.
We spoke to another teacher, Ms. Regina Mulinga, who says that private schools are not motivating because they pay as low as 800 kwacha.
I even left the school where I used to work because of the little that I was getting. It could not suffice to support the family. You know, getting 800 kwacha in the what? In the private school. Right now, I'm just a trader with 4 children, with a family to support. Imagine, I'm just selling tomatoes alongside the load.
A human rights activist, Mr. Francis Kamwena, states that civic leaders have a duty of maybe assuring the constituency members who have been left out.
These are the people who voted for them. They should also come and motivate them. They should also come in and see why some of them have been left. Because according to some of the stories which I'm getting, is that some of them, they were even doing some volunteering. You know, some of them, they were even told where you were doing your volunteering, you should apply there. But instead, it might be also the wrong direction where they were given. Because some of them, it's like where they were applying, there were a lot of competition.
Camnet News also spoke to the Secondary School Teachers Union of Zambia, SESTUZ, General Secretary Mr. Sitibekso Wamuyua, who says that teachers who have been left out need counseling.
The people that have been left out this year need more counseling, social counseling, than those that were left out in the previous recruitments. Yes. They need more counseling because everybody thought I was going to be one of the people who were going to be picked. But the reality is that we had more than 100,000 applicants, and the available space was only for 30,000. What happened to the 70,000?
Camnet News will reach out to the Ministry of Education to actually find out what criteria was used and to get answers that many people are demanding for. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
Patriotic Front presidential hopeful Emmanuel Mwaba has noticed with concern what he terms as government's unclear stance over the recently recruited 30,496 teachers. Addressing the media Monday, Emmanuel Mwaba, a former diplomat, notes that government has not told the nation when exactly they will add the recruited teachers on payroll, as a situation he feels will result in destitution for many. According to him, the teachers will only be put off the payroll in the 2023 national budget yet to be announced later this year. However, Finance Minister Dr. Stumbekom Sokotwane has clarified that resources are ready and teachers will begin receiving their salaries by the start of the third term.
The opposition Patriotic Front has in the past days placed their microscope on the ruling party, asking for answers on what exactly is obtaining insofar as honoring the promises made to the Zambian people before ascending into office is concerned. The famous teacher recruitment of 30,496 people, as announced last week, has seen mixed reactions, those of excitement and some of doubt. While those recruited can safely sleep, stakeholders, especially those using the political lens, have questioned when they will be put on the payroll, challenging government to release the needed information for the public good. According to the opposition Patriotic Front presidential hopeful Emmanuel Mwaba, government has kept useful information out of the public, adding that teachers will only get paid using the resources allocated in the 2023 national budget.
We are congratulating the teachers that have been recruited, the 30,000 teachers that have been recruited, but we appeal to government to provide all information. For example, this was not provided for them to be on the payroll this year. Government should be in the forefront of telling our expectant teachers that they'll be on the payroll in 2023. This lack of providing information is what raises these concerns, and we hope that they go through with the issues of the 11,200 health personnel that they'll be recruiting. We have some concerns on issues of corruption. For example, we saw someone who's a brother to the president being recruited in foreign service going to Malaysia. That is corruption. Nepotism is part of corruption.
But government, through the Minister of Finance, Dr. Stumbeko Msokotwane, has told the nation at a gathering in Lusaka that funds are available and all those recruited will be put on the payroll without any means of corruption beginning the third term of 2022.
We're going to employ 6,000 teachers. Some people thought we were just politicking, but it has happened. And the good thing that it is happening without our officers, without our politicians having to be bribed. People are getting jobs. People are getting jobs because they qualify for those jobs. And no one is going to pay a bribe to get employed. The issue of the medical staff is also on track. I'm hopeful that this can also be done very quickly. Some will announce next week, maybe yes. Otherwise, the money for that is available. Okay, the money for that is available, and as soon as these people are hired, again, there's no negotiations to say, put me on the payroll. If anyone tells you, put me on the payroll, report that person immediately so that the ACC can arrest them.
Sharon Kalimbola, Camnet News, Lusaka.
In other news, Zambia's Republican President Hakainde Hichilema has announced that Zambia will soon commence on the biggest nickel mine in Africa. Speaking at the Private Sector Day in Lusaka Monday, President Hichilema says this is a great opportunity for the private sector to tap into and support government's agenda of economic development and job creation through private-public partnerships. Meanwhile, the head of state has warned statutory bodies to stop charging exorbitantly in various sectors, as this deters people's ability to progress. Meanwhile, International Financial Corporation has signed an investment agreement of 500,000 United States dollars with the Zambian government.
Following the launch of the Public-Private Dialogue Forum by Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema in April of 2022, the first meeting to mark the Private Sector Day has been held in Lusaka Monday. Different stakeholders from different parts of the country met in Lusaka at the Molongoshi Conference Center to mark the Day of the Private Sector. And Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema, who was guest of honor at the event, has praised the private sector for its contribution to the development of the country. The president also took advantage of the forum to announce that Zambia will be launching the biggest nickel mine on the African continent next month.
For your information, colleagues sitting here, in a month or so, we'll be launching work on the largest nickel mine on the African continent. Here, in your land, the largest nickel mine on the African continent. We want to see this this platform to now say, what does that mean to us?
And President Hichilema has warned statutory bodies and quasi-government institutions in the country to stop making money by killing small businesses due to overcharging them.
I sent a message here, Secretary of Cabinet, you are here, to just alert this platform that I've set a date to meet all the statutory heads, quasi-government institutions. I am seeing luxury standing there. I'm watching. I'm seeing luxury standing. And probably that's why they want fees to be charged in this way, so that they can buy the latest cars in the market. We're not there for that.
The president also took advantage of the forum to propose that the country should move from constructing roads using asphalt to constructing concrete roads.
I am mooting the idea of moving away from asphalt to concrete roads. So we need you engineers to wake up. In China, they are doing concrete roads. I'm told they last longer if they are done of good quality. They have no potholes. Here, you do a road, you saw it in the last 7 years, they are doing a road in front, behind the road is developing potholes.
Meanwhile, the International Financial Corporation has signed a $500 million United States investment agreement with the Zambian government to improve investment in the Public-Private Dialogue Forum.
It's one of the most open dialogues that I've seen, and it's just at the beginning. And one thing I've learned also is that private sector in general and public sector also are not very patient. We all want to move fast. We all want to have results very quickly. But as was said this morning very rightly, so Rome was not built in one day. Neither was Lusaka. So I'm sure it will take some time. But I see the progress and I see the direction.
The government has also taken advantage of the forum to announce the names of the steering committee of the forum who have been drawn from different public and private sector. Moving forward, the UPND administration has appealed to Zambian businesses to take up huge investment opportunities that are currently happening in the country. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Council of Non-Governmental Organizations, NGOs and Zambia's chairperson, McDonald Jipendi, says the appointment of civil society into government positions does not threaten democracy, stating that those who call for integrity should be given a chance to practice what they preach for the development of the nation. Speaking to Camnet News, Mr. Jipendi adds that what is important is to raise up a new cadre of people who will hold the government of the day to account on their promises and also to the law. Mr. Jipendi was speaking in reference to recent sentiments by stakeholders on the governance scene that Zambia's democracy is at high risk of diminishing following the appointment of civil society leaders whose key role is to hold the government of the day accountable into key government positions.
Civil society, just like many actors on the governance space such as the media, play the role of a watchdog and keep the government of the day accountable. This prevents the abuse of authority by advocating for good governance and also advocating for the freedom of speech, expression, assembly, and other basic rights. In democratic countries like Zambia, civil society also educates the general citizenry on their duties as citizens, such as the duty to participate in elections. The recent appointment of some civil society leaders by the current administration has raised concerns among stakeholders on the governance scene, who say that the survival of Zambia's democracy may be under threat due to this, stating that few people will be left to hold the government of the day accountable. In an interview, Council of Non-Governmental Organizations chairperson Mr. McDonald Chipenzi, however, charges that this does not threaten the country's democracy.
We want to see those who are preaching morals to be brought into government so that those morals they are preaching in church can be practiced in real governance setup. It is very, very, very disappointing that most of these people that are caught up with corruption are the same people who are preaching morals in church. Okay? These people now who are found in money laundering sagas, they are the same people who are talking about the rule of law. Lawyers. They are the ones now who are found, who are being cited in the FIC report. Traditional leaders, politicians. So, when you bring up people who claim to say, oh, accountability, okay, Mwana, very good, you are PS. Let's see. And tomorrow, the same person who was preaching accountability is found being unaccountable, getting involved in corruption. Then it will show you that some people are just hypocrites.
He adds that Zambia needs people of integrity in leadership positions if to develop, further stating that what is important is for a new generation of civil society leaders to rise and fill the vacancy.
So what we need is just a grooming process so that as we are leaving, others are also coming up and encourage them to be as strong as possible. So we just need to create a legal framework and a legal environment that allows the sprouting of new civic activists while others are retiring and taking up positions so that they demonstrate what they were preaching.
Zambia's democratic status demands for the creation of a free civic space where different stakeholders can air their diverse views on governance issues. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet TV Main News. We take our first set of commercials. We'll be back with more after this.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
The Agriculture and Commercial Show is back, bigger and better under the theme Innovation Through Technology. And as Camnet TV, we are here to transform your business through our technology. Advertise with us on discounted rates during the month of July and during the Agriculture and Commercial Show. Special price package for live stunt interviews, on-screen product placement during the coverage of the show. For more details, call the following numbers. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the rest of the main news. The Tourism Council of Zambia TCZ Technical Working Group has noted the need to investigate why Zambia does not attract big airlines despite government's huge investment in the airports. Tourism Council of Zambia President Yusuf Zumla says investigations should also be made into the declining numbers in international arrivals, saying the decline was recorded pre-COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking in Lusaka today at an event to mark the Private Sector Day, Mr. Zumla observes that one cost to the airline is the 20% withholding tax on airlines insurance, which he says government should consider removing for insurance companies placed with reinsurers not licensed in Zambia. And President Hakainde Hichilema, in his response, says there are too many tourism packages and has advised the sector to consolidate the tourism package and make them more attractive. He says government has also signed the Kafue National Park Conservation Agreement to protect wildlife in the area.
Reduce corporate tax for the tourism industry to 15% in line with agriculture. The agriculture sector has benefited from a reduced corporate tax of 10%. For quite some time now, and the increased activities in this particular sector is evidence that low taxes bring growth and compliance is higher. Honorable Minister of Finance, we are looking to you to make this happen in the next budget. This measure will increase competitiveness of the tourism sector and therefore allow us to create more jobs.
I was hoping in meetings like the EU, we could actually get some of our guests to stay longer and take them to the Kafue National Park. We're not ready because of devastation that has been going on there. So I am proud to say, and I think the country should know, that the African Parks Kafue National Park concession agreement has been signed finally. Because that happened outside of this platform. With this platform in place now, we want to accelerate such transactions so that you schedule them clearly, that we must start this one, get it done by a particular date. Because we know the benefits. No need to sing about it. It's obvious.
Some Lusaka mobile money operators have gone against local government's directive of not establishing trading points at undesignated places. A check by Camnet News has revealed that the mobile money operators are now reinstalling their mobile money booths along Lumumba Road and Simon Mwewa Lane sites, which were not affected by the recent removal of booths by the Lusaka City Council. Some mobile money operators tell Camnet News that they have nowhere to go and cannot wait for government to compensate them, as it is not guaranteed. Meanwhile, local government permanent secretary in charge of administration, Mambo Hamondu, has warned the mobile operators to desist from doing so.
Who's legitimately operating a telephone booth and has been asked to remove in undesignated areas will be indemnified with another. I think that should be an underlying factor.
This assurance was made on Monday, 11th July 2022. However, some mobile money operators in Lusaka's Central Business District have resorted to remounting the booths in places which were not affected during the demolition exercise. Those who have resorted to the decision of mounting their booths along Simon Moa Lane and Lumumba Road state that this is the only option they have to help themselves earn a living.
Everything, that's when you're going to tell us, okay, Sarah, you're going to stay there, this one you're going to stay there. And it's not right because we have been using our own money to buy these boots.
Okay, can I speak now?
No, you cannot speak because I'm still speaking.
Okay.
And right now, I'm very upset because a lot of stuff they have been destroyed. Like mabuti ya bantu ya mbili yanonongeka in the name of we are cleaning. I don't even know the means of cleaning akutini vitani. You understand? So abantu mabuti ya yanonongeka tikamba kuti waboze. Are they going to pay them back? I'm asking you, are they going to pay them back?
Well, Gary and Combo did say that they're going to be compensated.
Okay, we're going to wait for that.
Yeah. We're
going to wait for that. And actually,
okay, now, first of all, let me tell you, you're not the only voter. We voted as well. Everybody, excuse me, can I speak now? I'll let you speak.
Okay,
you're not the only voter. We all voted. And this has nothing to do with voting. When the government leads, when the government says we need to have a cleaner environment by placing booths strategically, okay, properly, not a place where businesses are obstructed, not a place where you've got filth everywhere, not a place where a booth is being used as a urinary and a toilet.
No.
Listen, excuse me, I'm talking, you were talking. Sister, you were speaking. Let me speak.
Yes,
okay?
You can show the people this.
No, hold on a second. No, let me. What do you mean always closed? People always urinate in the back. That's a fact. No.
However, Lusaka businessman Simon Chitambala says the unsystematic way of mounting the booths, especially in trading places, is inconvenient.
Installing booths haphazardly hampers businesses. You have, imagine for a moment, a business owner, a man who owns a building, or a woman that owns a building here in the CBD. That man has a lot of statutory obligations. They pay water, electricity, ground rates, rent, ZESCO, employees. And yet you have someone who brings a booth and they put the booth right in front of the doorstep of their building. What that does is...
Mr. Chitambala has pleaded with the local authority to beef up monitoring mechanisms in the CBD, alleging that suspected cadres are involved in the illegal allocation of trading places, while Opposition Acting Patriotic Front President Given Lubinda has maintained that the removal of booths is unprogressive to the country.
Why should we go and import prefabricated booths when our own metal workers can do them as well as they are? If you go and consult the PF manifesto, you will see that therein we actually pledged that we shall encourage those operators to operate from well-designed, home-designed, home-constructed booths.
Meanwhile, Local Government Permanent Secretary in charge of administration, Mambo Hamaundu, denies allegation of cadres being involved and warned the mobile operators to desist from doing so.
I think that people must not take the law into their hand. We have local authorities across the country. There are actually 116 local authorities across the country. And looking at Lusaka particularly, there's Lusaka City Council. So anyone who needs trading a place must go to Lusaka City Council. The issue of cadres allocating land is neither here nor there. It is illegal. Anyone who's getting land from a cadre, anyone who's being allocated a trading place from a cadre is doing so at their own risk, because cadres are not the local authorities.
The wait continues among the mobile money operators on when the compensation will be a reality. Nelson Zulu for Camnet News in Lusaka.
In other news, The Kanongesha Royal Establishment in Mwinlunga District of Northwestern Province have officially unveiled the Kanongesha Chiefdom caretaker following the death and burial of Senior Chief Kanongesha who died in May this year. Kanongesha Royal Establishment Chairperson John Chilengi unveiled Jasman Sambaulu as the caretaker chief to Acting District Commissioners William Ponga and Town Council Secretary Kennedy Kazanda in a meeting held at the Civic Center today. Mr. Chilengi and Mr. Sambaulu was selected as caretaker chief during a family meeting held on June 18th, 2022, further thanking government for every support it offered during the funeral of the late chief. And caretaker chief Jesman Sambaulu said he will carry on the legacy of the late senior chief together with village headmen and work with the government for the development of the chiefdom. Meanwhile, Mr. Mponga said President Hakainde Hichilema's government considers traditional leaders as key partners in development. He said government is ready to work with the caretaker chief to deliver development to the chiefdom but will not interfere with traditional matters, especially those to do with succession. And Council Secretary Kennedy Kazanda advised the royal establishment to remain objective and follow the family tree in selecting their new chief in order to avoid succession wrangles. The meeting was attended by other 15 village headmen, Sub-Chief Kabwaye, head of government department, and ordinary subjects from the chiefdom. Well, we take our second set of commercials. Coming next is sports and international news.
Team, the trajectory of the business looks very positive, and it looks like we'll be able to launch the... She has so much data.
Mom?
Yes, baby?
It says here, global warming and climate change is caused by the pollution from careless activities of human beings.
Wow!
Son, do you know I can turn my phone into a TV remote?
How's that possible?
It's so easy. Check this out.
Be smart, be fast with mega data from Zamtel. Get your 15 GB mobile data for only 100 kwacha, 30 GB mobile data for only 200 kwacha, and your 70 GB LTE data bundle with free Netflix, YouTube, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Visit our Facebook page, website, or service centers countrywide for more information. Zamtel, your digital lifestyle partner.
The Agriculture and Commercial Show is back, bigger and better under the theme Innovation Through Technology. And as Camnet TV, we are here to transform your business through our technology. Advertise with us on discounted rates during the month of July and during the Agriculture and Commercial Show. Special price package for live stunt interviews, on-screen product placement during the coverage of the show. For more details, call the following numbers. Camnet TV, not just another channel.
Thank you for staying with us. We now get into our international news. 2 cases of the Marburg virus disease, a hemorrhagic fever almost as deadly as Ebola, has been recorded in Ghana, the first ever in the country, health authorities announced Sunday. On July 8th, blood samples from 2 people in the southern Ashanti region suggested the Marburg virus, and the sample had been sent to the Perta Institute in Dakar for confirmation, the Ghana Health Service had said. The 98 people identified as contact cases are currently under quarantine. The statement added nothing that no other Marburg case have been detected among them so far. In other news, according to the UN Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, about 6,250 people have been affected by heavy rains and flooding in the province of South Kordofan, Wau, and Kassala since the beginning of the rainy season in June. Here's a roundup of international news.
Flash floods triggered by seasonal torrential rains in Sudan's Darfur region killed at least 7 people, including children, according to the UN and an aid group on Sunday. Heavy rains began late Friday in the Kas locality in South Darfur province, according to the General Coordination for Refugees and the Displaced. The group said the dead included a pregnant woman and 2 boys. It said at least 100 houses in camps for displaced people collapsed or were partly damaged. The UN's Humanitarian Affairs Office said over 6,000 people have been affected by heavy rains and flooding in the provinces of South Kordofan, White Nile and Kassala since the beginning of the rainy season in June. Ghana on Sunday confirmed an outbreak of the Marburg virus disease, a hemorrhagic fever almost as deadly as Ebola, after blood samples taken from 2 suspected cases tested positive. It is the first time the disease is being reported in the West African country. Last week, samples from 2 people in the southern Ashanti region suggested the Marburg virus and had been sent to the Pasteur Institute in Senegal for confirmation, the Ghana Health Service said in a statement. Dozens of people identified as contact cases are currently under quarantine, the service added, noting that no new cases have been detected so far. The Marburg virus is transmitted to humans by fruit bats and is spread in humans through direct contact with the body fluids of infected people or with surfaces and materials, according to the World Health Organization. Previous outbreaks have occurred in Angola, Uganda, the Democratic Republic of Congo, and Guinea.
As we went door to door,
Deputy Secretary General of the ruling African National Congress Party since 2012, Jessie Duarte died Sunday after a long battle with cancer. She was 68. At her funeral on Sunday in Johannesburg, President Cyril Ramaphosa paid tribute to Duarte. Ramaphosa described the late as a faithful, dedicated and fiercely loyal leader of the ANC. He praised her for fighting for women's rights during and after South Africa's struggle against white minority rule. Duarte had held several roles in the ANC, including serving as the party's spokeswoman. Between 1999 and 2003, Duarte was posted as South Africa's ambassador to Mozambique.
We now get into sports news. Chipolopolo head coach Aljosa Asanovic says his boys put up a great fight in the final game of the Council of Southern Africa Football Association COSAFA tournament that kick-started on the 17th of July 2022. Despite the stiff game against Namibia, where they won by 1-0, Asanovic is happy that his side was crowned COSAFA champions. Meanwhile, Zambia's Minister of Youth, Sports and Art, Elvis Nkandu, notes that the boys' performance in the COSAFA will open great economic doors for the country.
The Chipolopolo Sunday, 17th July 2022 were crowned the 2022 Council of Southern Africa Football Association COSAFA tournament champions. The boys beat Namibia by 1-0 in a now-beating final after extra time at Moses Mahide Stadium in Durban to claim a record-equaling 6th COSAFA Cup title. The senior national team won their 5th COSAFA Cup title in the year 2019 but failed to defend it in 2021. The COSAFA trophy handed the new coach Aljosa Asanovic his first title 7 months since his appointment. Asanovic says his boys put up a great fight in the final game of the COSAFA.
I always congratulate Namibia because I saw the teams who knows what is he doing every moment, every second. Congratulations to your coach, because for us it's a very difficult game, especially first half, you know that. But second half and extra time, we are trying to keep the ball and try to find the space. And we have found the space and we have scored the goal. But for us it is a very tough game, and I'm so happy also. Congratulations to my boys, congratulations to my staff, congratulations to FAS, who is the believer these boys, and unfortunately we not have the time to celebrate.
However, during the game, Zambia suffered a setback when the midfielder Spencer Sauter was taken off injured and replaced by Abbott Kangwanda in the 38th minute. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Zambia's Minister of Youth Sports and Art Elvis Nkandu notes that the boys played well, hence deserved to win.
Very proud of the boys. They did well. I know it was a difficult game. And people need to understand that these games, there are no underdogs this time. They are very small countries with a very small population, and this is why we are getting it all wrong. We think that the lesser the population, then they will not be able to play very well in terms of, for instance, football. I think that notion should now come to an end, because football today is very, very technical. You may have a small population, but you can have a very strong team in your country because of the infrastructure that they have developed now, the amount of commitment that the governments have put in, the resources that also goes with the preparations and other things. So we should not think that because we are playing Namibia with a small population, then we are likely to just beat them the way we used to beat them. I think things have changed.
Blessings Chakwila, Camnet Sports, Lusaka.
Zambia Sports Fans Association patron Peter Makembo says the Football Association of Zambia's decision to give bonuses to Copper Queens has motivated the players. In an interview with Camnet Sports, Makembo notes that such acts should be extended to other sports disciplines so that they are equally motivated. Makembo says the bonuses were some of the reasons why the Chipolopolo qualified for the World Cup tournaments, amidst other things. 15th June 2022, the Football Association of Zambia President Andrew Kamanga disclosed that the Chipolopolo would each earn a massive $21,500 in bonuses should they reach the finals of the 2022 Women's AFCON that Morocco is hosting currently.
They need the associations. They bring the results. And those are the kind of the results that we have been looking for. Don't fold your arms to say, let's wait what they're going to do. Who is going to do? It's you to do it. When you do it, then others will follow. Like where the girls have done it. That is an angle. Zambia has to be moving in a positiveness. We want such kind of results on now. So we have cried. Enough is enough of crying. How long are we going to cry? We want to be moving in the tears of joy.
Well, that sports item brings us to the end of Camnet TV main news. But before we go, here are the headlines once again. SESTUZ recommends a psychosocial counseling for teachers left out in the recruitment process. UPND member KELVIN SAMPA appears in court for theft. Zambia to establish the biggest nickel mine. And in international news, death as floods hit Sudan's DARFUR. And in sports, awarding bonuses to Copper Queens, a good motivation factor, charges Peter Makembo. Before we go, our Camnet verse of the day is coming from the book of Psalm 119 verse 7, and it reads, I will praise you with an upright heart as I learn your righteous laws. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Pleasant viewing.